So what is an algorithm? So algorithm is a step-by-step method for solving a problem. Okay. So we have seen how to write an algorithm. So using an English statements, and then we have talked about the flowchart. So flowchart is nothing but a diagrammatical representation of algorithm. So here you will get uh, the flow of how the algorithm works in a diagrammatic way. Okay. Then we are, yeah, what are the properties of algorithms here we have seen? So one is finiteness, definiteness, input, output, and effectiveness. So whatever the algorithms you write, so these algorithms should follow these properties. We have seen some examples. Then flowchart. So what are the different diagrams we can use for writing a flowchart? Shapes. Okay. So we have seen this, and we have seen some examples, and then we have seen what is a pseudocode. So pseudocode is nothing but a combination of syntax and some English statements. So I have seen these pseudocode keywords, right? And I have asked you people to solve some examples. So I have given this set of examples. I hope everyone have written. Okay. Today's class will talk about constant. This I think I have initially told in the beginning class. So what do you mean by constants? So constants are the one which do not change during the execution of a program. Okay. So these value will not be changed. Right? I have told, right? So how many constants does C provide? So the C provides four constants. So one is integer constants. So it represents some integer values. So say suppose I have made it as a value equals 1 2 3 4. So this value will not be changed. This integer value will not be changed during the entire course of execution. So that's what we call it as a integer constant. Then we talked about then we have real constants. So instead of having an integer value, we can have a floating point value, okay, fractional values. So these type of constants we call it as a real constants. Okay. And then we have character constants. So here we can define a character as a constant. So this character will not be changed during the program. Okay. So those we can these character constants we can define in a single quotes. Okay. So you can see that a b in the example. So b is defined as a constant. So it is included within a single uh, single quote. Okay. So this is how we can define a character constant. Similarly, we can define as a string of a characters as a string constant. So here is an example. So the way to define a constant is double quotes. Okay, we should use double quotes for the string constant. So this is how you need to define constants. And what is the main uh, criteria of constant? So the main criteria is that so these values will not be changed during the execution. So if you try to change this constant value, then a programmer will give you an error. Okay. Yeah, this is how we have different constants. So constant, numeric constants, where we have integer constant and real constant. And character constant, we have single character which is denoted in a single quotes, and string character constant which is denoted in a double quotes. So how we can define constants in a program? So one way of defining is using hash define directive. So this is a hash define directive. Using this, we can define a constant. So here you can see the example. So I have defined hash define max line 1000. So what type of a constant it is? It is a integer constant. So the value is integer. So that's why we call it as an integer constant. So once this line is executed, so throughout the program, the value of max line, wherever the string max line appears, so this value is replaced with the value 1000. So that's why we call it as a constant. So this value will not be changed for the entire program. So this is one way of defining using hash define. And another way of defining constant is using a constant keyword. So you can see here, this is the syntax. So this is the keyword const. So if we define this, then the whatever the uh, name after that, whatever we are declaring, it is a constant. So here is an example you can see here. So constant, const, so it is a keyword for defining a constant. And then the type, constant type, whether it can be a integer, float, character, or a string, right? So this is the type, constant type. And this is how you need to define the value, the variable. So we can also initialize the variable, or just we can declare. So this is the pi equal to 3.14. So I am assigning 3.14 to the pi. So throughout the execution of the program, the pi value remains 3.14. And the another type of defining constant is using enumeration. So enumerated data types. So here we can define like this: enum, again it's a keyword, enum followed by the constant name and constant values. So you can see here is an example. So enum is a keyword. So if we are giving the constant name boolean and no, yes. So what do you, how the value is assigned? So the first value is assigned as a 0, okay, and the second value is assigned as 1. So keep on, if we write again, the integer values will be assigned to the with respective names. So starting with the 0, next 1, 2, 3 on, 3, 4, so on. Okay. So this is how we can define constant with the use of enum. Any doubt here? Okay, this is about the constant. And next we have a variable. I think I have discussed this also. So what do you mean by the variable? So variable is a name associated with the memory location. Okay. The difference between variable and the constant is that the variable value keep on changing during the execution of a program, whereas constant value is fixed. Okay. So how to define a variable? So we can define a variable like this. So the type and next name of the variable. So we can define the variables like integer, floating, character, or string. Okay. So this is how we need to define the variables. Here is an example C code using constant and using variables. So you can see here we have defined the constant. So the constant is defined using hash define. Fine, hash define. So what are the variables we have used here? So variables we have used is the radius, area, circumference. So these are all variables of type float. Okay, of type float. So what do you mean by this variable? The value of these variables will change during the execution of program, right? So that's why we call it as a variables. Whereas constants, so these values will not be changed. So if you try to change in the execution, then we will get an error. Okay, this is about the uh, variables and constant. So next is data types. So I think I have discussed this also. So what do you mean by data types? So data types define type of data stored in a memory location, or a type of data the variable can hold. So the variable can hold integer, float, character, or string data types. So that's why we, these type of data types we call it as a primary data types. And next is, so in the C we have three types of categories. So one is primary data types, derived data types, and the third one is user defined data types. So what are the primary data types? So the primary data types in the C are character. Okay, we can we can define a character using like this: cat followed by the variable name. Okay, so this is one data type, character data type. integer a data type we can define followed int followed by the variable. Next is float. So we can, in the example, we have defined radius as a float value, right? So next is double. So yeah, here we have defined here double value. So double followed by variable. And next is void. So value void doesn't have any data type. Okay, so it means that the function is executed properly. So these are the five primary data types in the C. And next what we have is secondary data types. So these secondary data types are derived from the so derived data types are the nothing but these are the derived from the fundamental data types, that is primary data types. So we have different data types like array, pointer, structure, union, enumeration, etc. So we'll see this word in the next sessions. Okay. So and the third one is user defined data type. So it represents user specified identifiers used in place of existing data types. So user can itself define particular values with respect to some this primary data types. Okay, we'll see some examples with respect to user defined data types. Yeah, so when I say a data type, so first what you need to understand is what is its size and what is its range. Okay, so when I say character or assigned character, so the size of the data type is 8. Okay, 8 8 and 8 bits. Okay, 8 bits, and the range is from -128 to 127. So this is the range of a character. So the maximum value it can hold is 127 and minimum value it can hold is 128. Okay, so similarly for unsigned character, again it is a 8 bits, and this is the value 0 to 255. These are the values, these are the data types, and these are the size, and these are the range. Okay, you should remember at least some basic data type values like character. What is the int? So int, we have uh, 2 bytes. 2 bytes is nothing but 16 bits. Okay, so the maximum is -32768 to 32767. So how do we calculate this values? So it is nothing but -2 to the power of size to 2 to the power of size minus 1. So this is how we will calculate the range. Okay, so these are the some examples. So next is float. The float is 4 bytes, right? 4 bytes, and this is the range. And double is 64 bits, and long double is 80 bits. So this, at least some basic data types like character, int, float, and double you should know. Okay, so this is how we can use this is to show like how we can use this different data types. So you can see here integer. So integer you can see here num value is assigned to 10,000. So what is the maximum range? The maximum range of integer is 32767. Okay, 32767. So the num value is correct. What about num 2 value, num 1 value? Num 1 value exceeds the limitation. Okay, exceeds the limitation, and num2 also exceeds the limitation. So we will get some garbage value. We will not get the exact value, we will get the garbage value. So you can see here while printing the values, we are printing the percentage d. So the percentage d is used to uh, is used for printing the integer values. Percentage ld is used for printing the long double integers. Okay, long integers. So what is the maximum range of long integer? So long integer is 32 bit. So 32 bits, so the maximum range is this value. So the result of num2 is within the range, so that's why we will not get an any error here. but the we will get error in num1 because it exceeds the maximum range. Okay, so this is about the data types. Okay, we have three data types: primary data types, derived data types, and user defined data types. Okay, so we have talked about primary data types. So we have five primary data types, and data types. Data types are the data types that we have that we will create using fundamental data types. So we'll see how to declare arrays, pointers, structures. Okay, in later classes. And user defined data types. So the user will assign these data types using this primary data types. We'll see that also in next sessions. Okay, so next one is input and output operations. So how we can give an input to a program. So we can give the we'll see this. Okay, and how we can display the output in the output screen using some output operations. So in the C, what we have two functions for it. So one is okay, first we'll see what is this header file, hash define stdio.h. So you have seen like any programs that I have given right now. So all the programs this uses this first line, hash include stdio.h. So it means that we need to include this particular header file. So this header file is already defined. Okay, so already it is existing in the library. So whenever I'm executing this particular program, I need to include this file. That's what it means. Okay, hash define is a directive, and this is the file name stdio.h. Okay, where we have defined the syntax of this input output operations. Okay, so what are the input output operations? So in the C we have for say suppose if we are reading a character, so these are the input operations. Suppose if you want to read a character, so the function we are using is get char. Okay, get char. Okay, so this is the this is the function that is used to accept a character from a keyboard. So see, here is an example. So what I'm doing, a equal to get char function. I'm calling this get char function. So this get char is defined in stdio.h. So we no need to write the code for that. So already the code is already written in the hash stdio.h. So that's why we are including this header file whenever we are writing a program. So whenever the this statement is executed, so it accepts a character from the keyboard. Okay, so it accepts a character from the keyboard, so that character is assigned to the variable a. Okay, so this is for reading, and for writing a character onto the display, so we have putchar function, putchar. Okay, so whatever the value we provide in this bracket, so that value will be displayed on the output screen. Okay, putchar a, so the value of a will be displayed. And so in order to read formatted input data type, so we have scanf. Okay, so I think we have seen here. Yeah, so yeah, so this is the example for using a scanf function. So this scanf is used for reading the formatted input from the keyboard. Okay, so here we need to specify the format specifier within the double quotes, followed by comma, and followed by the variable. Okay, so this ampersand variable name. So this is how you need to read a formatted input from the keyboard. And for writing, we should use printf. Okay, so printf, again we need to have in the double quotes. So we need to, so suppose if we are displaying a value, so that value name should match with the format specified. Suppose I'm using a float, then percentage f should be used. If I'm using integer, then percentage d should be used. Okay, so this is the syntax of using the printf function. Okay, so what are the input output operations in the C? So for reading a character we have getchar, for writing a character we have putchar. Okay, for reading formatted input we have scanf, and for writing the formatted output we have printf. So these are the input output operations we can use with respect to C. Okay, so another type of input output operation is with respect to your file. Okay, file. So suppose I have created one text document. Okay, like and in that we have certain lines. Okay, certain characters, some data is there, so that we call it as a file. So how we can read the content of file or write the content, some contents into the file. Okay, so that we can do using some functions. So first you need to understand what you mean by how we can access the file in the C. So in the C we make use of the streams. Okay, in order to access the file we make use of streams. So streams, what do you mean by streams? It is nothing but is a sequence of bytes organized in lines, into a lines, and again the line may contain zero or more characters. Okay, so in the C we use stream streams for accessing the file. So this, the content of streams is nothing but is a line, uh, sequence of bytes organized into lines, and these, a single line can contain zero or more characters. So how to open a file? So suppose if I have defined a file, I have created a file with particular name, then I need to specify that name here. So this is the syntax of opening a file. Okay, f open followed by the file name followed by mode. So in the mode, so the mode can be either read, write, or append. What do you mean by read? So that file is only for reading the content. We cannot overwrite the content. So that's what we call it as a read mode. And another one is write mode, where we can update the value in the file. We can rewrite the content in the value of in the file. So that's what we call it as a write mode. And append, so append is we can add some data at the end of the file. So these are the different modes supported in the file. Okay, so this is how you need to open a particular file. So the syntax is f open followed by the name of the file, comma, and type of mode, whether it is a read mode, write mode, or append mode. So once you open a file, so a pointer to this particular file is assigned to is fp. So this f, using this fp you can close the file. So once you open the file you should close the file. Okay, before closing. Okay, so how to close a file? So this is the syntax, f close followed by file, whatever the pointer that is used to open the file. So that is the syntax. So f close followed by the file pointer. So this is how you need to close a file. So we'll see some examples. So whenever we are doing some operate some other, whenever we are doing some like uh, stack operations or queue operations, we'll see how to use, we'll see some examples using these files. Okay, so for now just you understand how to open a file, how to close a file, and what are the operations that we can perform on this file. Okay, so for opening a file, f open is the function call we are using, and for closing a file we are using f close. And what are the operations that we can perform on a file? So one is we can read a file. So we can read using fscanf or getc or fgets. Okay, so these are the functions we can use for reading a file. And for writing a file we can use fprintf, putc, and fputs. Okay, so these are the functions that we can use for reading and writing into a file. So fscanf is used for so as I told, scanf is used for reading formatted input. So fscanf is nothing but reading a formatted input from file stream. Okay. Similarly, getc, so it is used for reading a character. So gets, okay, reading a unformatted character from a file stream. And get s is used for reading a string from a file. So similarly, fprintf is used for writing a formatted data into a file, and putc is writing unsigned character, and fputs is unformatted character string to a file. So these are the functions we can use with respect to files. Okay. So before doing any operations, so first we should open the file. Okay. And then we should perform these operations, and then we need to close that particular file. So this is with respect to input output operations with respect to file. Yeah, this is one example. Say suppose I have defined a file, text file dot some extension. So where this so how to open that particular file? So we should give f open followed by the path where it is present. So this is the file name. So this is the path where it is present, and followed by mode. So here we are reading this, we are opening this particular file in a read mode. So that's why it is R. Okay. For write it is W, for append it is A. Okay. So what is read mode? We are only just reading the content of file. We are not writing anything here. So that's why it is read mode. So what is this? So if we are not able to open the file, so the value assigned to fp is null. So if fp is null, so we have failed to open the file. And what are the operations we are doing here? So here I'm using fgetc. So what is fgetc? So this is fgetc. Okay. So it's a reads an unformatted character from the file stream. So I'm reading one character from the file, which what is the file name? So file name is here. So this is the file. So I'm reading a character from the file. Okay. So that is the function that I'm using in this particular program. So after doing some operation, I need to close the file. So this is how I'm closing the file. F close fp. So this is the file pointer. So using which I have opened the file. You can see here, this is the file pointer using which I have opened the file. And so that's why I'm specifying this file pointer for closing that particular file. So this is the syntax for reading and writing into for reading a file. So next we will see what are the operators and expressions supported by the C. Okay, so in the C we have a rich set of operators. So one is arithmetic operators, assignment operators, bitwise, conditional, increment and decrement operators, logical operators, relational operators, and special operators. So we'll see what are these operators and how these operators works. So these are the set of operators, arithmetic operators that can be used in C. Okay. So name of the operator is addition. So symbol is plus. So what is the use of this symbol? To find sum of two or more operands. Okay. To find the sum of two or more operands. So it can be a unary or binary. It means we can use this operator with respect to one operand or two operators. Okay, you can see here. So this is one example. So we have a value is equal to 10 and b equal to 5. So if we use this operator, so the value will be 15. Okay, and also we can specify plus a. So this is how we can use this operator. And subtraction, so subtract the values. Okay, so multiplication, I know this, I think these are fundamentals you might be knowing. Okay, The star is used for multiplication, the slash symbol is used for division, and percentage symbol is used for the modulo operator. So whatever the result, whatever the remainder we will get, so the remainder will be stored. We will get the remainder here if we use percentage symbol. Okay, so these are arithmetic operators. Next is assignment operator. So if we want to assign a particular values, then we can use this assignment operator. So here you can see here b equal to a. Okay, so whatever the content of a, we are assigning that to b. Okay, so b equal to a, so content of a is assigned to b. So b becomes 5. So earlier it is 5, but now becomes 10. Okay, and next one is uh, we can use plus equal to. So what do you mean by this? So here it means that the value of b is added to the value of a and is assigned to b. Okay, so you can see here example. So the value of b is 5, correct? Value of b is 5, and we are adding this plus symbol means that we are adding the content of b to a. So 5 plus 10, it is 15, and assigning 15 to value b. So the now new value of b becomes 15. So this is the meaning of plus equal to symbol. This is about the assignment operator. And next what we have is conditional operators. So depending upon the condition, we will execute expression 1 or expression 2. So this is the syntax for the conditional operator. So one is, first we are writing the conditional expression. So if this expression results in either true or false. So if this conditional expression is true, then expression 1 is executed. If it is false, then expression 2 will be executed. Okay, so this is the syntax for writing a conditional operator. So here is an example. So this is a conditional expression, okay, followed by question mark. So if this is true, so what is mean by this true? So what is a plus b? A plus b is 10 plus 5, 15. Whether 15 is greater than 10, yes, it is true. Then the value of c is assigned as a. Okay, so if this condition is false, then the value of b will be assigned to c. So that's what we call it as a conditional operator. So based on the condition, a particular expression will be executed. Okay, so next is bitwise operator.
Sir, can you please unmute your mute?
Till now, you have not heard anything
No, sir. You muted your mic.
from beginning of the class.
No, sir, from bitwise operator, sir.
Oh, okay, thanks. Scared. Bitwise operator. Okay. Okay, bitwise, it's a logical and. Okay. And yeah, yeah. Increment and decrement operators. So what are these operators? So these operators are used for incrementing a value by 1. Okay, so here is an example. So the value of a is 10. So if I want to increment by 1, I need to use plus plus a. Okay, then whatever the value of a is there, so I will increment by 1. So the present, so see here, b equal to plus plus a. So the value of a is 10. So I am incrementing by 1 and I'm assigning to b. So the value becomes 11. So if I use decrement, then the value is, so whatever the value is there, so I'm subtracting by 1. So here the value of b becomes 9. Okay, so this is about the increment and decrement operators. And next, what we have logical operations, so operators. So we can use double ampersand. So it means that if both the conditions are true, then the return value is true. Otherwise, it will return as false. So I'm checking the first condition, checking the second condition. If both are true, then I will return as true. Otherwise, I will return as false. So for OR, if one of the condition is true, I will return as true. Otherwise, I will return as false. And not symbol. So not symbol is used for negating the result. That is, if the value is true, I'm returning as false. If it is false, I'm returning as a true. Okay, so these are the logical operators. And relational operators, here these relational operators are used for comparing the two values. Say for example, less than. So if a is less than or 20, I'm checking whether the value of a is less than or 20. If it is less than, then I'm returning as true. Otherwise, I will return it as false. Okay, so similarly, we have less than or equal to, greater than, greater than or equal to, equal to, equal to. I'm checking if both are equal or not. Okay, and I'm checking not equal to. So these are the relational operators that are used in C. And next is special operators. So these special operators are like comma, size of, ampersand, and star symbol. So this comma is used for linking the expressions. So you can see here in this example, we are linking this expression with this expression using comma. Okay, and next is size of. So size of, whenever we are writing size of some value, it returns what is the number of bits it is occupying in the memory location. Okay, so what is the size of integer? Just now I told, what is the size of integer? Anyone? Size of integer. So you can see here, data types. Yeah, this is the size. Okay, so character is 8-bit, integer is 16-bit. So if I write size of some integer value, okay, where is that? Yeah, so if a is an integer, okay, and I'm writing size of a, then what is the value it returns? It returns 16. Okay, because size of integer is 16. So there we can use this size of. So whenever I'm discussing with respect to pointers and linked list, so you will come across this size of operators. Okay, so it will return the number of bytes a variable or a constant occupies in a memory. So it is a 16 bits, so it will return 2 bytes. Okay, so the value assigned to the x is 2. Okay, and next is pointer operators. So one is ampersand and another one is star. So these are uh, the operators that we used with respect to pointers. Okay, when I think in the next sections we'll talk about pointers. So that time you can see this, these are the two operators that are used. So ampersand is used for identifying, getting the address of a memory location. So as I told, say suppose a equal to 10, right? So in the memory the value of 10 is stored, right? And the name of the memory we are giving it as a, correct? So if we write ampersand of a, then we will get what is the memory address of that particular memory location. Okay, in the memory a is stored. So where exactly this a is stored? It is stored in some memory location. So what is the address of that memory location? So we can get using ampersand of a. Okay, so that is what the use of ampersand and star. So in order to get the value of the memory location, so if we write ampersand a, it will give you address. If we write star a, we will get what is the value that is present in the memory location a. So what is the value that is present here? So 10. 10 is the value present in the memory location a. So that value is returned. So that is the use of star. Okay, so these are important operators when we talk about pointer operations. So we'll see that. Hmm? And next is precedence of operators. So this precedence means, so if we write expression using these operators, so how, which operator has to be executed first, which expression has to be executed first. So that is called as precedence of operators. So you can see that, so this plus plus, this increment operator, decrement operator, not operator, size operator, so these are all having highest precedence. It means that in an expression, if these operators are defined, then the first they will be executed. Okay, so and after these operators, so the next operators executed will be star, slash, percentage. So after that, plus, minus, so on. So this is the precedence of operators. So in an expression, so if we have all these operators, then which expression is executed first? So that will be determined by precedence. So this is the precedence of operators. So the from the highest to lowest. Okay, so this is the precedence. So another thing you need to remember is whatever the expressions that we defined in a bracket, so those will be executed first. So that will be the first expressions above this. Okay, they have the highest precedence. After that we have this operators. Okay, so you can see this is an example. So the first expression will be executed will be what? Can anyone tell? What will be the first expression executed in this expression? Check the precedence level and answer. So before that I told you, so the brackets will be having the highest precedence. Okay, yeah, which expression will be executed first here?
Increment 4.
Yeah, so increment 4 will be executed first. Okay, so after the increment, Yeah, answer. After the increment,
Fine to 2.
yes, 5 into 2 because so we have higher precedence compared to subtraction. Okay, so next is subtraction. Like that, we have precedence of operators. So this is with respect to your operators. So next we'll study control statements. So if else, switch, and some looping statements in the next class. Okay. So I'm uploading this PPT. So go through the PPT. Okay. And if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Yeah, answer your attendance. 004 Triple E Aishwarya. Absent. Pushpa.
Yes, sir. Present.
Present, sir.
004.
Okay. Pushpa.
Present, sir.
Next, Ullas. Absent. Next, Ranjit. Ranjit. Ranjit is also absent.
So Ullas present, sir, in chat box.
Okay, you just answer. Okay. Ranjit. Absent. Sushmita.
Present, sir.
Aishwarya.
Present, sir.